The Galactic Archaeological Institute's most advanced research station, Kepler's Dream, hung in the void like a crystalline spiderweb, its bioluminescent corridors pulsing with the soft blue glow of contained energy fields. Dr. Jihan Martinez pressed her palm against the observation deck's transparent aluminum, watching the ancient derelict ship rotate slowly in the station's gravitational embrace. "Magnificent, isn't it?" chirped Zexhai, the Etherian xenolinguist whose translucent tendrils flickered with excitement. "A vessel from the predecessor civilization. Untouched for over 50,000 years. Jihan nodded, though her dark eyes held a skepticism that had served her well during her 15 years as humanity's representative in galactic archaeology. The human had earned her reputation by solving puzzles that had stumped alien minds for centuries, often through what her colleagues called peculiar human intuition, and what Jihan privately knew was simply pattern recognition, shaped by humanity's chaotic history. "The script analysis should be complete soon," announced Commander Throlvek, the station's Carthan administrator. His forearms worked simultaneously across multiple holographic interfaces, each appendage moving with the mechanical precision his species was famous for. "The AI cores have been processing the symbols for 72 hours. The research team had discovered the vessel 3 months ago, drifting in the void of the Andromeda Reach. Initial scans revealed it to be constructed from materials unknown to current galactic science, its hull inscribed with thousands of symbols that predated any known civilization. The discovery had sent shockwaves through the academic community. Here, finally, was evidence of the mysterious predecessors, the theoretical ancient race that many believed had seeded the galaxy, with the ruins found on dozens of worlds. Dr. Vashati, the team's Centaurian historian, floated nearby in her environmental suit, her bioluminescent patches dimming with concern. "The energy readings have been fluctuating since we brought the vessel aboard," she observed through the translation matrix. "Perhaps we should maintain a safer distance during the analysis." Jihan was about to respond when the station's emergency klaxons began wailing. Red warning lights bathed the observation deck as Commander Throlvek's forearms froze above his interfaces. "Station-wide lockdown initiated," the AI's voice echoed through the corridors. "Unknown linguistic pattern detected. Threat level, catastrophic. All personnel report to emergency stations immediately." The team exchanged bewildered glances as blast shields began sliding across the observation windows. Through the communication system, they could hear panicked voices from across the station. Over 300 researchers from 47 different species, all trapped by whatever the ancient ship had unleashed. "Status report," Throlvek barked into his comm unit. "Commander," came the strained voice of the station's head technician, a Rigelian named Koth. The linguistic AI made contact with the vessel's data core. It began translating the script, but something went wrong. The translation triggered what appears to be a mimetic weapon, a linguistic virus that's causing system-wide failures. "The AI is interpreting the symbols as some kind of catastrophic threat." Zexhai's tendrils turned pale. "A mimetic weapon? But that's impossible. No known civilization has ever developed language-based warfare technology." Jihan frowned, studying the partial translations scrolling across the emergency displays. The symbols seemed familiar somehow, tugging at something deep in her memory. "Can you show me the raw translation data?" "Jihan, with respect, this is not the time for academic curiosity," Throlvek said, his voice tight with stress. "We need to evacuate the station before whatever killed the predecessors kills us too." But Jihan was already accessing the linguistic database, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. The translated symbols appeared before her, and suddenly she was laughing, actually laughing, while the station's alarms continued their urgent wailing. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," she said, wiping tears from her eyes. The alien researchers stared at her in shock. Laughter in the face of a potential extinction event was not typical behavior for any known species. "Human Jihan," Vashati's bioluminescent patches flashed with distress patterns. "Have you suffered psychological trauma from the mimetic exposure?" Jihan shook her head, still chuckling. No, I'm fine. But I think I know what happened here." She pulled up the translation matrix and began typing rapidly. Computer cross-referenced these symbols with Earth's historical linguistic database, specifically pre-21st century colloquialisms and urban dialectics. The AI processed for exactly 2.3 seconds before responding, "Match found." Translation complete. Lockdown protocols disengaging. The emergency lights stopped flashing. The klaxons fell silent. Throughout the station, blast shields retracted and normal lighting resumed. What? Throlvek's forearms trembled slightly. What did you do? Jihan gestured to the corrected translation now displaying across the main screen. Where moments before there had been ominous warnings of doom and destruction now appeared, Yo, what's up, Galaxy? The boys from Earth were here. Johnny plus Sarah forever. Humans rule! P.S. If you're reading this, we probably invented warp drive first, LOL. The silence that followed was profound. The predecessors, Jihan explained gently, weren't some ancient alien race. They were humans. Early human explorers who made it out here about 50,000 years ago, probably during one of our first experimental warp flights. This isn't a mimetic weapon, it's graffiti. Very, very old graffiti written in what your AI interpreted as a dead language. Zexhi's tendrils drooped. But the energy readings. The advanced material? Classic human engineering, Jihan said with a shrug. We've always been good at building things that last way longer than they should. As for the energy readings, this old bucket probably runs on some kind of perpetual motion engine. We were always trying weird stuff like that in the early space age. Dr. Vashati's patches flickered, and what Jihan had learned was the Centaurian equivalent of embarrassment. So the great mystery of the predecessors is just humans being humans, Jihan finished. Sorry to disappoint you all, but sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one. Though I have to admit, Johnny and Sarah's love story lasting 50,000 years is kind of romantic. As the research team slowly dispersed, still processing the revelation, Jihan remained at the observation deck, looking out at the ancient human vessel. She couldn't help but smile, thinking about those early explorers, probably not much older than she was now, taking humanity's first bold steps into the galaxy and leaving their mark for future generations to find. The more things changed, the more they stayed the same.